as you can see on the screen, this is the cover. This is the front cover for the upcoming Doctor Who magazine, where they're going to be obviously they're going to go behind the scenes of the recent episode Lux, and they're also doing previews of Lucky Day, the story and the engine, and of course the Interstellar Song Contest, where they will also be having a chance to talk to Rylan ahead of that broadcast, which by the way will be airing the same day as Eurovision on Saturday the 17th. It's going to be quite interesting to see if that story actually releases on the day of Eurovision or whether it will pushed off the schedule because of the FA Cup, which is also having its final when Eurovision is also transmitting in the evening. But yeah, we'll see if Doctor Who can keep it scheduled that weekend. Hopefully they will. In terms of even more news, this is going to surprise in regards to the overnight figures for the Lux story, because I was because of how confident people were looking at how positive the story was received. I was kind of hopeful that the overnight figures was going to improve with last week's story, but it surprisingly dropped to 1.8 million within the second weekend. I was pretty to see those figures because I was hoping it was going to go 2 million, but no, apparently it dropped by 2.2%, which was really to hear that's what happened with Lux. I don't know. Maybe it started great, but then I mean to be fair, at the same time it was Easter weekend, so maybe people were busy with Easter stuff. At the same time, I mean, consistent figures for Robot Revolution show that it is obviously getting a lot of attention. The first episode, it had 3.57 million tuning into the episode over the course of the last week since it broadcast. That's really good to see that people were catching up. It seems to be a recurring Who fans seem to like catching up on episodes rather than watching it live. That seems to be a recurring theme in the last few years. Maybe this is the new trend now. Maybe people prefer watching Doctor Who anytime when they feel like it, rather than in the last few days, David Tennant celebrated his birthday. He was 54 just recently, and it's also kind of convenient we're bringing him up because of the fact that he's going to be on ITV this weekend for the Assembly, which is going to be airing on the 27th, which is this Sunday, where they'll be having his session of the Assembly on ITV1 this Sunday evening. And then, of course, a few days after that, next Thursday, they'll be broadcasting his new game show, Genius Game, going to be at 9 p.m. on those dates, respectfully. And it'll be a Wednesday and Thursday thing for ITV for the next couple of weeks. Of course, we've got to obviously acknowledge the fact that, of course, this weekend is, of course, going to be the Well that's coming, and of course that means that the deaf actress Rose Allen Ellis is going to be starring in this episode this weekend. And of course, there's been a lot of conversation. This is going to be the episode that will be bringing back a villain we haven't seen since the Waters of whether the Flood will make their return this weekend. I mean, judging by the fact the scenery is similar to how to the setup of the Waters of Mars, I wouldn't be kind of makes sense that the Flood would make a comeback here. I mean, they haven't been used since 2009, and also the Doctor's in a spacesuit. And what was the Doctor in? And obviously, in the Waters of Mars, he was in a spacesuit, arrived on Mars when the whole flood situation happened. So maybe maybe we're going to get a sequel to Waters of Mars potentially this weekend. Pretty interesting if that ends up happening, because it would also maybe give us more why the flood exists in the Waters of Mars. Maybe we'll get some answers to those questions. We'll see, but I'm curious. I'm curious to see how things go with this one. I mean, will they come back? Will they not? We'll just have to find out for ourselves, won't we? All right, so adding on to this Who Universe news, we obviously have to acknowledge about Lucky Day, which is airing on Saturday the 3rd of May at 7:10. So yes, it's going to be airing at 7:10 when it airs next Saturday. And of course, for those who are wondering what the synopsis is, it's pretty straightforward. Ruby Sunday faces life back on Earth without the Doctor. When a dangerous new threat emerges, Ruby and Unit save her new boyfriend Corin from the terrifying Sheikahs. And got a little bit of, we need a little bit more of a close-up. I mean, the Doctor and Belinda are credited, so it looks like the Doctor and Belinda will be featured, even though they're making it sound like that it might might be Dr. Light, so there is a chance that the Doctor and Belinda meet Ruby. Well, at least Belinda will finally get to meet Ruby Sunday, luckily next week. And also, Ruth Manin is making a return from the 60th anniversary. She's finally making a return as part of the episode, which is great, along with Kate Stewart, who's also returning. As well as that, we will be getting guest appearances of Alex Jones from The One Show, Joe Domin, Mars Singh, and of course, and also the I'm Celebrity series, sort of spin-off thing that happens, the main I'm Celebrity, and of course Renita Chakribana, who by the way is a BBC newsreader who you may have seen in news reports over the weekends or basically nearly every day, because the news is on every day on the BBC. So yes, she's one of the BBC news reporters who will be making a cameo next week's episode of Doctor Who on the 3rd of May. So yes, these are going to be some news reporters and presenters you will be seeing in the story next week. So that's pretty. Now, also interestingly, there are some interesting things that have been pointed out in the casting, and that is there is obviously the mentions of Ruby's birth mother, Louise Miller. She's going to be in this story, so we will be seeing her. Unit regulars Kate Shirley, Corin, and Violet's are back. Colin is Despira as the boy meeting the Doctor and Belinda in 2007, which is really interesting. So Colin, who's meant to be the new boyfriend of Ruby Sunday, apparently met the Doctor and Belinda in 2007. So that's interesting. And also another interesting thing is one of the actors, Paul Jericho, who plays Alfie, actually last appeared in Doctor Who in the Arc of Infinity and the Five Doctors, playing Castellan. Interesting to note that they're finally bringing an actor back who hasn't been seen since 1983. Pretty interesting stuff going on there. Obviously, Anita Dawson's Mrs. Flood will be appearing, and we don't know how she's going to appear, but she will be there for that episode next week. So you will definitely be seeing traces of Mrs. during the story. So that's going to be very interesting. That is what the synopsis the BBC has given out. Key Day that will air again next Saturday, 3rd of May, 7:10, when you'll see Ruby Sunday reunite with the Doctor for the first time this year. As well as that, June Dawson actually talked to SFX about her episode, which is the Interstellar Song Contest. And this is what she said about her sort of to the story as she is the writer for this particular story. She goes on to say, showrunner and co-writer Russell T Davies says very, very much, this is your chance to write. You've been waiting for this your whole life. What do you want in this episode? So going on with this story, but I'm not going to read too much into it, but definitely a lot of ambitious stuff coming out of this interview. Gives you a taste what's to come in that Interstellar episode when it ends Saturday the 17th of May. It certainly sounds like it's going to be a very bonkers episode when it airs, very weekend, so definitely look out for it. I think we might be in for a roller coaster of an episode, judging from what she's been describing in recent interviews with SFX. Nevertheless, that is all we have Doctor Who news at this time. We were obviously waiting more details about the series finale. I'm pretty sure we won't for a few more weeks, but we're probably going to find out some more details next month. 2 Magazine will be revealing more details of the series finale, as these are the 2 episodes going to be previewing in the next Doctor Who magazine. So we all know the finale will have its own Pacific Doctor Who magazine coverage in the next issue, and also Radio Times will do some big coverage regarding the finale as well. So we'll probably be getting some coverage from the final 2 episodes that are going to be airing. So there you go. That is so far about Lucky Day and also the Interstellar Song Contest to give us a taste of what's to come in the coming. So thanks for watching, and count for my review tomorrow for the story of The Well, and I'll see you guys.